When you're showing a video, of course, you want to block out the light. So one of the devotees had closed all the curtains in the room that we were in to close out the light so you can see the video properly. But because it was such a hot day, another devotee, or maybe the same devotee, I don't know, had opened all the windows, and they, of course, were behind the curtains. And this is an old, what do they call them? Georgian, I think Georgian or Edwardian or whatever buildings. And they have those sash windows that are very low to the ground. They're practically at the level of the floor. Maybe there's just a little step over like that, or they'll step up, but they're practically at the level of the floor. So anyway, windows wide open, curtains closed, video being shown. And of course, it was a big room, and the video was up at the very front, where most of the people were looking at the video, and at the back of the hall, there was more space there at that particular time. And that's where the kids, some of the young kids, were playing. My son at that time was 18 months old, or maybe nearly 2 years of age, that kind of age. And he had lots of energy, and running around. And the children were playing hide and seek. I presume you know that game, hide and seek. So he decided, no, this all came out after the event, we didn't know at the time. So he decided he was going to hide behind the curtains. So of course he's running, whatever hide and seek they do, count to 10 and then they come and get you, so there's this panic to hide in the place as quickly as possible. So he runs across the room. Nobody saw him actually, so we found out like that. Runs across the room, straight behind the curtains, and of course the momentum, the window's wide open, he just ping straight out the window. And as I say, it's 2 floors high, so you're talking about maybe 35 foot or something like that. And the gap out the window to the pathway is quite narrow. It's only about maybe 6 foot, something like that. And at ground level, protecting people from falling into the basement, there's like cast iron railings, spiked railings like that, and they're only like six foot out from where the window was, essentially. So he flies out the window, and of course if he'd gone literally a matter of inches more, he would have been impaled on the railings. But he didn't, somehow or other he didn't, and he went out the floor, and he fell into the basement. The basement, of course, is concrete wall up to those railings, and concrete ground like that. 18 months, 2 years old, something like that. And he went, and somehow or another, eventually we found him, and I won't get into that, it's too long, but eventually he was found, and he was on his hunkers, on his hunkers, like on his feet, with his knees bent, with his head just touching the wall. There was just a little scratch on his head, just where he grazed his head against the wall. And he was right in the corner, just on his knees, and he was whimpering. He was like whimpering. And I remember my wife's reaction to it. It was like, she nearly died actually. As it turned out, he was fine. He had broken a bone in each foot, in the right foot and the left foot, just a little bone he had broken where the impact upon falling. But the anxiety from the parents, and particularly the mother, was like incredible. But the thing is, that continues. Because the principle I'm talking about is anxiety. That continues, no matter what age it is, and no matter what happens, And then they get older. Now they're in their 20s, and it's like a whole other anxiety. Will they be good? Will they get into Maya? Will they be respectable devotees and people? And will they get a job? And will they get a good wife? And whatever goes on, it just goes on. There's anxiety, and that's the material world. No matter what situation we create for ourselves in the material world, that anxiety will always be there. So we have to cultivate and develop this incredible hunger, greed actually, the spiritual greed of Laulyam, to serve Krishna and extricate ourselves from this complicated, difficult situation that we found ourselves in. For whatever reason, we were not able to trace it back, but for whatever reason we came here, we must now, this wonderful opportunity, we actually sit here, taking the darshan of Srila Prabhupada on your left, and then Radharani on your right. It's just an amazing thing. This is Radharani. These are the first installed deities in the Hare Krishna movement, installed personally by Srila Prabhupada. This is Krishna from Vrindavan with us right now. The good fortune that we all have as a result of this, and we have to take that good fortune and maximize it to the very best that we can. Because who knows, this material world is so difficult and complicated, who knows when we will get this chance again. We're so fortunate to have come so far that we shouldn't let it slip away. We should make sure that we take full advantage and bring it to complete fruition. Because this kind of thing can happen if we don't, and this is the story that I read, I don't know if it's true. But basically, a married couple in their kind of late 40s, so they're, and they were relatively well off, but they're also tied up in their businesses like that. But they decided we're going to have a holiday together. And it was last winter, and it was a particularly cold winter in North America, there in Minnesota or Minneapolis. I don't know which one's Minneapolis, is that the further north? I don't know. Anyway, Minnesota. So I think it was Minnesota. It was north of the US. And it was very cold. Snow and ice and all that kind of stuff. So that's it, we're taking a holiday and we're going down to Miami to have this break where it's always warm apparently. But their schedules wouldn't actually allow them to leave together. So the husband went first, and the wife was coming the next day. So the husband, he arrived down in Miami, and of course the weather was beautiful. And he checked into the hotel. The hotel was fantastic, all the facilities, and he just was thinking, "Wow, this is going to be such a wonderful break that I'm going to have with my wife." So he emailed his wife, but somehow or other, in his enthusiasm and in his whatever, he got one letter or one digit in the email address wrong. Just one digit. And as you know, with email, if you get one digit wrong, then it doesn't go to the desired person. But as it happened, it didn't bounce back because it actually went to somebody else who had that exact address. Just coincidentally had that exact email address. So it went to this other person. Now the other person that it went to was an elderly lady in her 60s in another part of the US, in Texas as it happens. And she got this email, and just prior to reading the email, she was coming back from a funeral. It was the funeral of her husband. Her husband was a clergyman, actually, a preacher. And he had died of a heart attack. And of course, because he was a priest, they're all, concluding he'd gone back to heaven or whatever like that. So that was all in one sense very nice. But she was still, emotional. She was the wife, emotional and upset. So when she came back, she checked her email, and the reason she checked her email was she was thinking there'd be loads of people writing and, with condolences and all of that kind of stuff. So when she checked her email, she saw this email came into her address, and it was signed at the end, "Your loving husband." So she read it, and obviously she was initially confused, but maybe it was sent before he had the heart attack or whatever like that. But then it was clear from what the text that it wasn't. It was sent only within a few minutes. It just arrived a few minutes ago. Da, 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 da. And he started glorifying, saying, "Can't wait for you to come here tomorrow. It's all arrangements have been made. I'll be here to greet you like that, and I hope you have a safe journey here without any hassle, just as I did." And she was totally. And then the big thing at the bottom was there was a PS. Now this guy who had written this email was coming from this cold part of America and was taking this holiday in Miami where it was really hot. So the PS said, "And you'll be glad to know it's really frigging hot down here." So, so she's thinking, "Wow, my dead husband, he's just died, and he's gone to a place that's really, really hot." So she's thinking, and through the confusion and what she was reading about, she had a heart attack on the spot and she died. That's the material world. A person gets one digit or one dot or one letter wrong in an email address, and it ends up coming into your in-basket. And coincidentally, like I said, the coincidences involved about them having a holiday together and him going from a cold place to a hot place and the husband just dying the day before, ends up you getting totally freaked out, confused, all these different things, heart attack, and you pass away like that. So that can happen. Padam padam yad vipadam. There's danger at every step. Actually, the devotees are seeking param padam, which means the supreme destination. Param padam, the supreme destination. What is the supreme destination? It's Krishna's lotus feet. And that's the devotee's meditation, to somehow or another be allowed to take shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. Whereas the non-devotee, they're just absorbed in the material world, which is padam padam yavipadam, which means what? It means there is danger at every step. So it's an amazing paradox that everything wonderful and everything perfect and everything that's for our best interests and everything that's for our benefit and everything that we could when we have it, we will just understand how absolutely incredible it will be. And it's all available to us. But somehow or another we're resisting. We're resisting to actually absorb ourselves in that. Yet we're not resisting at all the padam padam yad vipadam. Everything that's going to bring us danger. anxiety, pain, suffering, all of those things that we don't want, we're like almost running with open arms.